right, we're back again with another episode of Roofer Reflections. I'm really excited to have Tim here. So, Tim, thank you for coming on the show.
Good to be here.
I was told that you have a very unique background in roofing. When did it start for you?
Yeah, so I started in roofing from back in I'm going to say like 79, 80. That's when I started a company. I had no idea I did not know anything about roofing, quite frankly. The only roof I ever did was a geodesic dorm in Arkansas, and I had no idea what I was doing there. But I started in the roofing business. It was more on the coating end, and then it turned into. All we said is that okay, all we're going to do is coating because that's easy. We can paint. I was a painter, and that's how I got into roofing. I said, I paint walls, I can paint roofs. So I did coating for a number of years, for an extended time. And then kind of a sad story, I was running the roofing company, and we got one of our best jobs. And one of my guys fell and died. I drove up, and I was talking to the architect, and kettle was going, and I said, hey guys, just cut for lunch. And they all said, okay, we'll come down for lunch. And as I'm talking to the architect, I see the rope moving, and I'm like, oh, what in the world? Who's up there? And then I look up and I see the beam falling, and I look down and I thought, okay, it's just going to hit the beam. It's going to hit the kettle. No big deal. No one's going to get hurt. It's a little embarrassing, but that's it. And then a few seconds later, I saw one of my guys go reach after it and fell, kind of catapulted him off. Kept him alive for an hour or so until the ambulance came. He stayed alive for a few days and then passed. So I, at that time, just said, man, I don't think I want to be in roofing. I think we know roofing now. We've been doing it for a number of years. Why don't we see if we can do it? So I found a building right on the lake. That's why it's called Lakefront Supply, And we basically just opened a little roofing supply. I was doing roofing at the time, so I was doing roofing and supply, and that's a big no-no. So I eventually sold the roofing company and then put all my effort in Lakefront. We've been 39 years to this day. And one of the kind of the unique thing that I did and was that as a roofer, I had to go to a propane place, a sheet metal shop. I had to go to a lumber yard. I had to do everything for a crazy job. And I was always like, if I get into the business, I want to do a one-stop shop. So we actually, when we opened Lakefront Supply, I immediately got a sheet metal shop. And I became one of the first propane distributors. So we actually, right away in 1985, that's when we opened, April 1st, April Fool's Day. It was kind of funny how it ended up that way. But we had a sheet metal shop, propane. We had every roofing, product that you could think of. Eventually, we got into siding and aluminum and all that. But basically, what I wanted to do as a roofer is supply what I wanted, what I think a roofer wants. A lot of our competition when I was in business came from manufacturing, and so they knew the product, but they didn't really know what a roofer needs. So we were constantly saying, what are you doing, bud? Tell me what you're doing. Let me see if I can figure it out, because we were roofers, So I think that was our success.
What are some interesting or memorable stories that happened?
Yeah, I mean, in the roofing, it probably, some of the things were absolutely crazy. OSHA wasn't really big back then. So I'm not sure what, but we did things that I remember my guys, after we stopped the roofing company, they told me stories. And to be honest, I couldn't handle a lot of them because I just thought they were hilarious, but also they were just so cringing. So one of the things I did in my mind, I oftentimes I have through the years given seminars on mission business and kind of our experience. And so I finally wrote a book, and it's called Unless the Lord Builds a House. Basically, unless the Lord was in it, we were not going to make it. So it's just filled with stories of like, things that we did that, you probably would never see anybody ever doing. I think it's really awesome to be able to dig a little bit deeper in the roofing business like you do, or, roofing end of things. A couple of my ladies are involved with the Women in Roofing. And man, oh man, just so incredible, right? The women in roofing are so needed, and they've just not had much of a voice until a few years ago. So we're super supportive on that, and I really appreciate all the what the women have done and brought to the marketplace. So yeah, and I think people like you, that you're interviewing different people, find out about what is roofing all about a little deeper way. So.